Good morning again. Here we are in northern Michigan. We're in a town called Gaylord, and we have about a half-acre area down here on the bottom of this hill where there's a hunting blind, and there's a bunch of fallen trees and branches and everything on the bottom area where the tree blind is. Excuse me. But the main problem is there's thorn bushes, and just walking down there is impossible. So basically we're going to be mowing a bunch of thorn bushes and then clearing out whatever branches and whatever fallen trees and stuff that we come across, but mainly it's just getting rid of all this ground foliage. He can't really use a brush hog down here because of all the tree debris, branches and stuff. So it's kind of a dual purpose. It's raining today. So hopefully the ground, it's only the first day of a week-long storm that we're getting. So hopefully, since it's only been raining overnight, the ground shouldn't be too bad. There's a large tree that's kind of in the way, and he tried to chainsaw it, and kind of binded up his chainsaw a little bit, so it gets in an awkward position, and the root and all that is the stump or whatever, because the whole tree fell over and uprooted. So it kind of binded up his chainsaw. So we'll see if we can get that pushed out of the way. Hopefully it can, because it's kind of a necessity to get back here. So there's a lot of really big boulders down here, so anything on the ground I'm not going to process. So I'm just going to basically keep my head up above the dirt level. And this is the beginning of the area right here. So we're just going to start mowing this down. These bushes right here are thorn bushes, and they are very, very tough to get rid of unless you have a brush hog or a mulcher. They kind of grow together, and they're not really a vine, but they just grow really thick. And trying to get in here, and even with a large weed whacker or whatever, it's pretty impossible. This stuff, the branches on them are kind of tough, So anyways, just gonna go through here and get all this cleaned up, and I've got a half day here, so I'm just gonna get back inside there and get the main area cleared out, and then I'll come back and touch up these little areas here. So that's about how our day is gonna go. Tree on the ground there, and see if I can see his chainsaw. I don't really see where the chainsaw hardwood tree and it's big. So if I try to chop it in half with my mulcher, it'll take quite a bit. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, well, we got the chainsaw out, and some of the log is cut, so let's see if I can push this thing out of the way. And there we go. Going to be making a product video coming up here pretty soon. I bought some products for upgrades on the tractor from various independent people, and so far the stuff I bought is working out pretty good. So I'd like to, you know, give a little shout out to the companies that make them. There really isn't very much out there for, you know, skid steers. Armadillo is one of them. They have a really nice metal brace that protects the hydraulic connectors, and it's really good. It's you know, it's a product that's going to save you a lot of money, because you know, if you're doing this kind of work and a tree lands on your fittings and you end up having to replace one, it can be a, you know, $100 or even more each time you do that. So which that's already happened to me, and which is the reason why I ended up spending the money and buying it, because it is expensive, but it's also a you know, really hardy piece of equipment too, and it's metal, you know. Anyways, I ended up buying it and sucking it up, because you know, a couple more times with the trees hitting my fittings basically would have paid for the you know, piece of equipment anyways. And then there's another company, I can't remember exactly the name of the company, but they make 3D printed accessories for Kubotas, and so I bought pretty much everything that he has for the 75, and the main thing was a fire extinguisher holder that fits on the back window, and I'm really pleased with that. There were some other issues with the attachment holes and stuff like that, but I'll talk about that when I make the video. I mean, you know, it is 3D plastic, so it's not like it's made out of metal or anything, but they're real convenient. And so anyways, I bought some of those, and then there's a European manufacturer that makes knife blades for the FECON head here, and they're considerably cheaper, and I've been testing out one blade. They sent me a sample blade, and when I added my new knife edges from FECON, I added one of this other company's blade to there, and so far I've already gone through one side, because they're double-sided, and the tool has pretty much kept up with the other product, and it's also probably 30% cheaper. So I ended up buying a full set of blades from them, and so I'm not ready to put the blades on yet, but what I'll do is I'll pull off the blade that I've been using, and I'll pull off one of the FECON blades, and I'll show the wear on them, and you know, they're basically the same. You know, I kind of thought maybe the metal would be you know, a softer metal, not, you know, not as high quality, but that's actually not the case. So so of course, if I'm going to save almost $500 on a full set of knife blades, I'm going to do that if it's not going to you know, be a cheaper product. So anyways, those videos will be coming up soon. I also made a screen with magnets to fit on my back radiator cover, because a lot of times it fills up with leaves, and I don't have the reversing fan yet, which I plan on getting that next year. But until then, I made this little screen, and it's pretty handy. You just pull it off and shake it, and then put it back on, instead of trying to you know, pull all that grass or all the leaves and sticks and everything off by hand. The reversing fan, of course, would keep all of that material off of there, but unfortunately I didn't have that upgrade put on this tractor when I bought it, and I will the next time. That feature is for forestry, it's almost a necessity, and kind of like having the bulletproof front windshield is a absolute necessity. I think that reversing fan is too. And if you live in a hotter area of the country, getting a coolant system for the hydraulic oil is also a necessity. I really don't need it here in Michigan. When it does get hot, it's only in the 90s at the most, and so. And that's not very often, even in the summer. I think this summer, running this thing, the only time I ever had an overheat issue was when my radiator was plugged up with leaves. So, of course, getting that reversing fan would have fixed that. But anyways. kind of hard to tell, but the property owner went around and put yellow paint on the trees. You can kind of see it right there. So that's the boundary lines that he wants me to mulch the inside of. So basically this little ravine here. And luckily it hasn't been raining very long, only for a day. So I'm able to get in here. If not, I think I don't think this will hold water, but it would definitely mud up, and it'd be impossible for me to get in here. And the hardwood in here is very, very tough. My machine does not like it, especially the larger logs. Branches and trees are from the ice storm we had earlier this year in March. Normally all of this down here would be manicured with the brush hog and be really nice looking. You can even see there's even grass in here. So at one time this was probably a really nice little ravine. I won't be able to mulch these sticks all the way up, but I will be able to get all this thorn bush out of here, so you can get in here and burn this stuff or do whatever. There's so many rocks. There are rocks everywhere. Every time my head touches the ground, I can see sparks. So it's back dragging and getting all this material mulched is impossible. But I relayed that to the owner, so he knows that I'm just going to clear out all these thorn bushes. I can still chop down and condense the material, especially like all the smaller branches and stuff that are exposed. It's just that once it gets flush with the ground, I can't dig down and get it. It's too many rocks. I don't know if you can see all the sparks, but every time I back drag, I'm touching the blades to the rocks, and I can it just makes me cringe. Literally ruin a whole set of blades if you do that. Carbide tips would be different, but if I had carbide tips, these jobs would take all day. And the jobs that I do have to actually mulch, where the material isn't really thick and big, the carbide blades wouldn't be able to do that very well. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you should use carbides, you don't have to worry about sharpening them and stuff, but I've gone behind people that have used carbides in the past, and it doesn't look very clean, and yeah, I'd rather sharpen blades than have a subpar product in the end. If I had a bigger machine, a bigger mulcher, it might be a different story. With this mulcher, I'm just going to stick with the knives. that hardwood, my blades just don't even do anything to it. It's not really the type of material that this particular mulcher is designed to grind up smaller stuff. But anything over 6 inches, I just end up doling the blades. I know there's people out there that do it. It takes forever basically to grind this stuff up. So I try to mash it down and get rid of the smaller branches, and then the owner can come through and chop and pick up the larger pieces. I really don't want to ruin my blades every time I go and do a job like this. Just, especially if there's rock, you know. So I know I've said it already in this video, but I always like to reiterate that normally I don't leave this much material on the ground, but Now it's starting to rain again. I'm at the end of the run. There's another creek bed. I don't know if it was a road at one time or whatever goes that way, but I think those little pink flags, I think this is the property line, so I'm going to stop here. These are the bushes. Thorny, very thorny berry bushes. And you can see all the trees that are down on the ground. This is everywhere in this central part of Michigan. Gaylord, Lewiston, Alpena, all the way to Traverse City, down to West Branch. It's the whole center part of Michigan is like this, and this is all from March with the ice storm. It was a really bad occurrence. So nothing had ever been recorded like that before here in Michigan, so obviously the people here were taken by surprise, and it's pretty overwhelming, really. But if you can see here on the ground, see all these rocks. They're everywhere. So for those of you guys that are like me and can't stand all these sticks and stuff that I'm leaving behind, that's why I'm doing it. This ground is completely covered in rocks. Every time my blades touch the ground, I see sparks. So I'm afraid to even look at the blades, honestly. I'm sure they're chipped up already. But so I'm just going to beat all this down, and he'll be able to come in here with you know, a quad and a trailer and a saw, and chop all this up and get a nice little road built in here. I pushed a bunch of bigger trees out of the way and getting rid of all these thorn bushes. They'll be back next year, but he'll be able to, if he cleans up all these sticks and larger logs and stuff, he'll be able to come in here with a brush hog and maintain this little pathway. So I'm going to try and get a thumbnail for the tractor, and then we'll get back in the cab and finish up. I only have about another hour out here. He only wanted a half day, so that's what we're